Well, can you believe it? It is episode 3 of Clayton's Corner. Steven Strom, Jack McMullen, of course, Clayton McCullough. And this is flying by, man. I can't believe it. We're 2 weeks away.
2 weeks away. You're right. It's getting here quicker with each day, isn't it?
It really is. Are you a daylight savings guy? Did you struggle to wake up this morning?
I turned my phone off and turned it back on.
Yep.
I trust the iPhone, but I thought, well, maybe it's a little darker. It's
It was
pretty dark
tough.
outside,
It
huh?
was tough
Like
this
after
morning.
the night game last night, I wanted to make sure.
Okay, so I will admit something. Like, I got up this morning and I Googled, what time is it? And, like, instead of turning my phone off and turning it back on again, I just Googled, what time is it right now? And it told me what time it was in Jupiter. So I felt pretty comfortable with not only what Siri was telling me, but with what Google was telling me. So that was the way that I went.
That sounds better than what I did. A little more efficient.
My eyes felt so lazy. I woke up this morning and I'm like, oh my God. I was supposed to go to the gym at 8 in the morning and I was like,
Look at you.
no.
Didn't happen.
No. I got in such a good groove, too. So frustrating.
Can't tell.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks. Okay, Clayton, so you said 2 weeks away. Just, I guess this is just a broad question here. Where do you feel like your team's at? What have you liked? What do you feel like you still got to clean up here with this final 2?
Yeah, we still have a lot of work to do, and I think that's yes. There's this opening day is a couple weeks away, but then also just because the season starts, things aren't finished. I think it's certainly players and we do want to have as much set in place and as much feeling good about things that we're doing on opening day. But then also you want to have your swing right for opening day, but also like those are things that are just you're always going to be constantly looking to improve upon, evolve like during a season and from year to year. So much is put on opening day. I think we're trying to get ourselves, number one, like, can we be as healthy as possible come out of camp? That's knock on wood there, but that's a great place. And then hey, have we at least felt like we've instilled and got some traction and some movement on some of the initiatives organizationally that we wanted to put in place, because we don't want these things just to be a spring training type endeavor. Like, these are going to be the way that we're going to try to attack our preparation throughout the season. So I think we got to just continue to push the envelope there, and there's things nightly coming up in games that we're just coming out the next day and looking to just try to ensure that we're just tightening up some of those areas so that we're in as good a spot as we can be when we open.
I'm sure there are a billion things that you adjust in season, but just for like the sake of a concrete example, like what is an example of one of those types of things that you're looking at saying, hey, this probably isn't a fix by opening day, but this is something that we're going to continue to feel out through the course of a season, like in your previous years as a manager, whether it's in the minor leagues and even on the coaching staff in LA the last few years. I mean, what are some of those things that you feel like may not be a box that's checked until June or July?
I think in some ways, like there's a cultural shift here, and organizationally, some of that is just with the new. Like it's going to take us more than spring training for our players and our staff to, really kind of, be in sync with everything. And some of that just takes time. We're still in a lot of ways learning each other. But I think some of the practice modalities we've tried to institute and, the preparation aspect, like those are things that we're going to want to continue to push throughout the season that maybe are still for many like a bit new.
Like
and
lives? Like what are we
some of
talking
them
about?
think it's more just the way that they hitting off the high velocity a lot and a lot of mixture in your pregame batting practice on the field, not looking like probably many are accustomed to, and mixing speeds, mixing pitches, different machines. You guys have seen we had the traject going, and it's been very well received early on here in camp, and that's a huge win for us organizationally and a big investment by ownership and front office to do that, and that's going to be a really big piece, in Miami as well. So I think that is it. That maybe it might just not look and feel the same, but these are things that we believe are going to lead to, us taking a step forward. And so, we just need to make sure we continue to push those as we go.
Quick follow-up on the traject, because this is a state-of-the-art machine that not every organization in Major League Baseball has. Like, it's not like, oh, you're trying to catch up to some sort of norm. It's like, no, you're pushing, like you're being proactive as an organization to get this state-of-the-art technology. And the 411 from, just like the outside looking in it's a video screen. You can really program any pitcher in baseball, and you can change the arm slot, you can change the pitch characteristics, and it'll actually mimic a guy's real-time arsenal. When you first heard that the Marlins were going to get several traject machines, were you doing backflips, or was it like, oh, you know what, I'm excited to see this thing?
Yeah, for sure. It is. It's an incredible investment again by ownership in our front office to make that push and get it done. It's as representative and it's as close to game like as you can get for a hitter, at least at this point. And you just think, I mean, we had some guys last night like Jonah Bride. He got a chance to see X amount of pitches versus David Peterson off traject, right? Mm-hmm. And it mimics their pitch profiles, the stuff, the movement. It's coming out of the window that that David will. You're watching him go through a delivery and go, and then you get up there his first at bat. He doubles to right field, and it's like that's like the 51st pitch I've seen of his today, right? So, I mean, in a lot of ways, that is we believe is going to be a huge tool, for our group.
Cool.
We got a lot of bases to cover today. Hopefully this doesn't go more than 15 minutes because I know you got things to do. Sandy, we saw a report last week on an innings limit. What can you tell us about what's going on with Sandy in 2025?
Yeah, I mean, as we see right now, no innings limit is set on Sandy. Sandy has, as we all know, the type of worker he is, and his offseason was outstanding. I mean, he had a chance to not rehab during this offseason. He was in, preparation mode for a season. We've seen the velocity has been there again this spring. Even the breaking ball, the stuff has been great. So he looks like Sandy, and he's felt great. So, as we go here right now, we are with Sandy and our other pitchers on the staff as we go through the season. Some of those are just kind of read and react with just how guys are bouncing back,
sure.
How they're feeling. Over the course of the season, whether that's, giving guy a blow. But those are conversations that we'll have with the athlete and as a group, as we move along. But as we see right now, we expect Sandy to be able to go deep into games for us like he has. This guy's been a workhorse for a lot of years, and he's prepared himself to be able to do that.
Between starts, I'm sure you guys have those conversations with Sandy. In game, too, I'm sure you guys will have those conversations with Sandy. Hey, how do you feel for the 7th? Hey, how do you feel for the 8th? How have you kind of prepped to have those conversations? I know, obviously, Daniel will be involved in those conversations as well, but you as a manager at the big league level with a guy like Sandy, what are you anticipating those conversations going like?
I'm anticipating Sandy to never be happy
right.
if I have to go take him out of a game. So that part I know, and he's let me know that as well. But that's okay. And I think we'd want, I want that from all of our guys. Right. Hey, to want, the ball and be able to go and deep and
thanks.
Nope and go and so. I mean, some of this will certainly be like game state, maybe how the stuff is trending throughout a particular, outing, the lineup where guys, who's coming up and what we have, down in our bullpen on a particular day. And I hope the message to, continue to have with guys is that, if you want to pitch deep into games and you want that, you just go out there and you earn that by, your effectiveness, number one, and going out and and pitching well to be able to earn those. Sandy has earned that throughout his career to this point. He's done that, and we have, a number of other starters and guys in the mix for that are at that point where now it's okay to have that happen. You need to go out there and pitch in a way that earns that type of trust.
Gotcha.
The 5th spot in the rotation, is anyone pulling away? Where are we at with that?
I think we've seen, Max Meyer has been very impressive in this camp, and he did it again last night. 3 innings, very efficient, continues to strike with multiple breaking balls. I think some of the ones he threw to left-handed hitters last night to be able to get underneath the barrel.
Yep.
The changeup is also very good. So Max has been, incredibly impressive in this camp. He's in a great spot. Take that down, and feel really good about where he is.
What did you think about Soto's standing ovation after going 3 for 3?
Yeah,
I'm putting you in a tough spot. Me and Jack took care of it.
I don't know. I might have been down having a conversation with somebody in the dugout. I didn't even really. I don't know if I even noticed it.
That was hilarious.
It was very funny. It was March 8th, and
he's so good. He's so good. It was just a little.
Max bouncing back. He was missing. Me and AJ Ramos were talking about that on our broadcast. He was missing up and arm side a lot. Right. He was leaving a lot of things arm side in the first inning, but reining it back in. Listening to Max's media availability after that start, he's talking in such a confident way. I'm a new guy. I've got an expanded arsenal. I've got a feel for several pitches. When you hear confidence from a guy like that, what kind of confidence does that put in you as a manager of him?
I think it's great to hear it, but I think we've been able to see it. I think his mannerisms, his demeanor, the body language has exuded confidence, and he should be. Like with the arsenal and how he's throwing, he should feel very confident that he can go out and get any type of major league hitter out. The outing for me last night was as impressive that 2 hitters in, you're down a run. You got a guy in scoring position, and then okay, ground ball, sac fly. You manage it, you mitigate the damage some, and then it was like second, third inning, breeze right
Locking
through,
it
and
down.
I'm like, that's how you turn in, what could have been early on, man, what just happened into a rough one to now see, hey, you could have gone 6 that night probably, and you look back 6 innings, 2 runs, and go like, wow, that's a real start. Like being able to just like take what has happened, flush it, and just go like execute the next pitch.
On the flip side, offensively, because we want to make our way down to the minor league guys, there were some roster moves, some cuts. The lefty on lefty, we've really noticed you putting out guys like Griffin and Matt Mervis and
Sanchez.
Who else am I missing? Sanchez out there. How do you, or I guess who in particular, have stood out in those lefty-lefty battles?
I think a couple guys like Griff's at bats. I think
Great
last
yesterday.
night. I mean, he really stayed on that ball to hit to left center last night.
He didn't get a double on that, though.
I know. I told him the game has a way of rewarding you, right? You hit a bullet to left center, get caught, and then you get you get a double on what's probably more likely to be an out.
They scored it in air.
Did they?
They scored it in
That's
air.
tough. Well, it's spring.
We're going to
training.
get that taken care of.
That should be a knock during the season. And Kyle Stowers. I think Kyle's faced a lot of lefties as well in this spring. You bring that up. It seems like we face a lefty starter
Crazy.
like every other day. So
you get one today too.
In some ways, it's helped him. Maybe not. This is maybe just my own anecdotal thinking. But his ability to stay on the ball early in camp and try to get back the ball up a little bit, stay on it. The lefty kind of forces you to do that middle of the field type of approach. Has helped Kyle some with his posture and just giving himself some room to see and swing. So I think those matchups are never easy. But I think that they just you watch how they hang in there against some of the breaking stuff gives you some confidence to guys are in a pretty good spot I think overall with how they're feeling.
It's funny, you got Frompert today, and then you got Parker and Ogasawara tomorrow. So we're just in a lefty's world right
you're
now.
trying to make it up, and you want these guys to get some at bats first, right? Too, and it's well, today we got 3 lefties, coming up, so this is kind of what you got.
Right. I'm curious about some of the roster transactions from yesterday, and I know we talked about Max Acosta, and he really jumped out, but a couple other guys in that as well. Jared Cerna is somebody else, and I know you've loved watching them play over the last 2 weeks. Who among that crop has really jumped out to you saying you made a really positive impression in your camp?
Many ways they all have. I mean, I think a little bit Max Acosta was, kind of a star, in his own right. I think defensively it came with, it kind of came as advertised. He, looks like he really has a chance to stay in the middle of the field and play high quality defense, which gives you a really high floor right there as a player. And then offensively, he may have an opportunity to start some and get the chance to, have at bats against, what are going to be, some major league starting pitchers, and the quality of the at bat was evident there. So, and what a, he's got such an open mind, and he's been, so all into coaching, whether that be from Tyler Smarslock on the infield or PD and Show on the hitting side. So, has some instincts, great showing for him. And Cerna, again, another one that has a chance to stay in the middle of the field and play high quality defense, high contact and enough. He's got enough impact, right now. I think he'll have more to be able to challenge outfielders, which is, a big thing. So I like Cerna's got some real toughness to him too. Like you said, the guy, he likes to play and he's not afraid of anything. So those two, middle of the diamond defenders that you believe can stay there are, there's going to be some type of major league value at some point. Now, what the bat ends up becoming probably dictates, ultimately what kind of player it is. But at least you have a high floor as someone who can defend in the middle.
What was the message to Davison?
At Davison, it was, I think, we know there's power there, and you've been a performer power-wise in the minor leagues. And we just believe for you to take the next step as a productive major league hitter and to be able to get to then access that power at the major league level, that the discipline and the controlling of the strike zone is the big part of that.
Yep.
And we think it's firing at the right type of pitches, and then laying off balls. How many swinging a count is such a big thing. It's that the 1-1 take to make it 2-1. To be able to get yourself into advantage counts where now you're putting the heat on the pitcher to have to come in the strike zone. So that's message one for Delos was if you're going to give yourself a chance to access that type of power and be the hitter we believe you can be,
Sure.
it's going to stem from like how well are you and how stubborn are you, in the strike zone. And like you're going to chase. I'm telling them too. Like this isn't, like everyone.
And you said
does.
he's 21.
Yeah.
That's
So
another
it's
element
not like
to this.
you have to be perfect. We're not asking you to go walk 15% of the time. We're not asking you, to be somebody else, right? But we just believe, if you can just even increase that a little bit, okay? And over the course of a season, now you start, laying off some of those pitches that you're not going to be able to do damage with anyway, and give yourself more swipes at those that you can. And now we believe that the power would play. And then defensively, that's a big part of it too. Like just like continue to work there so that you're not letting other parts of your game sacrifice or get diminished as you just solely focus on the batter's box.
I know we're working up to the buzzer here, so last one from me. But you got Marlins fans thinking about driving the 2 hours north here to Jupiter to come see their favorite players play a baseball game over the next 2 weeks or so of spring training. Are they going to see their guys in the game for 7 innings, 9 innings? How is that progression for the guys that are likely to break camp with you, as a major league position player? What does that look like over the next 2 weeks?
And we're at the point of that spring. In spring now, we saw some guys last night 7. I think we'll continue to see 7 and some guys playing back-to-back days, and maybe the first time going back-to-back, or here's some of these maybe 7 to 6 just on the back-to-back, and then I think from here on out it'll be 7 to 9 inning range for them to try to get as many plate appearances and get into a rhythm here towards the back end and feel like they're there's no exact science in which to do this, but we feel in pretty good place right now with where guys are as far as build up, and feel like it's a time to start pushing them some and stretching out their innings.
Cool.
I got one last one, and we'll let you go. What kept Augustine up here?
I think, Augustine's been one. He's been very impressive. I think the chance to continue to work with Joe Singley, which he's been spending a lot of time with, even January leading up to camp.
Sure.
And he's made so many strides in the receiving part of things and the throwing. So we felt like that there's still, we have opportunity at bats for him, to continue to get built up. So when we'll think about what's in Augustine's, best interest, right now, and like we still have plate appearances. He's getting a chance to, play in games and get to catch, our major league guys get a chance, even the back half of games, like finishing a game, so there's a feeling of like, catching those last 3-4 innings. It's hard in spring training to catch 9 innings,
Sure.
It just, so to like, still sometimes like be in the back half of a game and feel what it's like to finish a game, he's had some starts. So there's still plate appearances for Augustine now and reps behind the plate that we feel are valuable in his continued development.
Clayton, thank you so much. As always, it's always such a good time, and we will talk to you next Sunday.
My pleasure. Number 4 next Sunday.
Number 4. Thanks for listening. We'll